I can be such a negative Nancy on solar heaters. I've worked with them, so I'm like,
Welcome to the INYOPools podcast, your go-to source for everything pool equipment. Whether you're a seasoned pool professional, a DIY pool owner, or just diving into the world of pool maintenance, we've got you covered. In today's episode, we have a heartwarming discussion about the pros and cons of pool heaters. Without further ado, take it away, guys.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the INYOPools podcast. I am your, official host, Matthew, and I'm not sure what you guys want to play today, poker, bridge, or whatever, but we got a full deck of hosts today. We got me, of course, and to my right, we have Dan, the drywall man, and then old little T over here, Big T, and then across from me, the one, the only, Rob. How you doing, Rob?
Doing pretty good.
You're the only one with a speaking role.
Lonely. The one and lonely.
Oh, no, one and only. One and only. Though you do have a forlorn look on your face sometimes, which is, it's the Scottish melancholy, as they call it. But thank you for joining us, everyone. And today we are going to be talking about the heated topic, pool heaters. Did you see what I did there?
yeah.
Yeah. But today we're going to be talking about all kinds of heaters, gas, heat pumps, the electric resistance, I believe is the term, and then the energy efficient but heavily involved solar heaters. But first, let's kind of talk about what are the upsides of having a heater. I would say they're just more comfortable in the off season, but what else would you say is a reason to get a heater, Rob?
Well, I think it just extends the season of the pool. I mean, Florida, we have a pretty long season here, but if you're in the Northeast, Midwest, you have kind of a short window, Memorial Day to Labor Day.
I guess you can add a couple of weeks and the front on the back end.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, even here in Florida, because right now, I mean, most people's pools are 60 degrees. I think you were talking about that earlier today.
My pool's unscreened, gets plenty of sun. There's no trees around it, and it's still in the 60s. And this is late March right now when we're recording this. None of us are getting in when it's in the 60s. So,
and it's going to be 85 degrees this weekend.
Yeah. So having a pool heater, in Florida, you can almost go the whole year.
You can go year round in Florida with a heater.
A good heater, yep.
What is like a good swim temp? Like when is it like?
Depends. Kids are getting in when it's in the 70s. I mean, they'll jump in when in the 60s.
Yeah.
Get ourselves. But for me, it's got to be 85-ish, probably.
I'd say that's my comfort spot. 85. I want it to be bath water pretty much.
Yeah. I know everybody in New Jersey is like, what? 85? That's crazy.
Well, it was spring break here last week, and you had people swimming at the beach. I was cold last week.
Yeah. Like 85 degrees. It's like, are you guys making stew? Like, what's going on? Like, by the way, for our people in Europe, which I'm sure we have some French fans out there, we're talking Fahrenheit.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Also known as American units. So now that we know why you would get a gas heater, jumping my gun. I'm showing my bias. But now that we know why you should get a pool heater or why you would, what are the different types? And we'll kind of go through the most common and work our way down to the solar. So what is a gas heater? How does it work? What does it do, Rob?
I was doing electric. Dan's doing.
Oh, yeah.
We start with electric.
Oh, sorry.
We'll start with the electric.
I just saw Mike 1A in front of me. I just couldn't help it.
According to this, solar.
Slam shot.
Number one call sheet.
Okay, well, Dan, flawless segue.
When it comes to gas, there's two types. There's propane and natural gas, and they are probably most common because they heat the pool up the quickest because they use a heating element, which is a heat exchanger, which is heated up by either propane or gas. So a lot of people do like those.
It's the most constant heat. It's
the constant, like say when most people use them, like especially when you like spas, if you have a pool spa combo, and people get home from work. They want to be able to get in that spa and they want to be able to have that hot water. And that's the quickest way to do it is by that.
Yeah, and it's also, I'd say, relatively compact compared to the other options. A heat pump is probably the size of a
AC unit.
AC unit, yep. And most propane and gas heaters are a little bit like half the size of that.
Yeah, especially if it's like a Hayward H series universal.
Like the 250s are small.
Oh yeah, little minis.
Oh yeah, even the little Ray packs that are like the the little electric ones are some look like the size of a little bit bigger than a home computer.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to a gas heater, I mean, you can pretty much put it in any application, right? Because it can run. I'm not sure what the low end, what it is on a gas heater, like the lowest you can run it, but I'm pretty sure it's just above freezing or something, at least in the 40 degrees. Mm-hmm. And the good thing about the gas heaters is it doesn't lose efficiency. Like no matter what the thing is, as long as the what are those things called? Heat exchangers aren't corroded or
you're able to light
calcified.
The pilot light, you're able to get the fire,
the
millivolts or whatever. As long as you're able to basically light the fuse, that thing will come on.
Yeah, and I mean that's the best thing about gas heaters. And I mean, the only pros I would say is you can't always get, you might not have natural gas, so you don't have a clean like hookup, so you might have to get a big old propane tank, which ain't super fun. I mean,
and things you need to when you're dealing with the heaters, especially with the gas heaters, is once you use it, you need to shut it off 20 minutes before your equipment to allow cool down time, because you need to cool down those heat exchangers. You don't want to shut them both off at the same time, because then you'll have other problems from that heat.
They used to have the fireman switch on those timers that would turn your heater off about 20 minutes before the pump, so you have cooler water rushing through there, cool down.
And then you also you don't want to really store them with water in them. Some people have bypass valves so they can keep the water out, because most of the common heat exchangers are copper. A lot of people don't use that Cooper nickel or the NITEC, the new stuff they have out. So that's when you'll start to see rust. Sometimes they'll turn their pool on and water will come out, and you'll get a little bit of rust coming through the lines, which could be from
the good old copper staining on concrete.
Exactly. People will say, hey, where does it get this from? And you look over at the heater. There's your problem. You're letting the water sit in there, and it's got to come out somewhere.
Oh, I've had people where they've completely done a stain treatment, turn around, turn their pool back on, let that same water go through their heater, and then all of a sudden they got the same stains, and they're like, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, huh?
Well, that is another...
Install a bypass.
Mm-hmm.
Problem things.
But that's another, I wouldn't say another, but it is a downside of a lot of gas heaters is the heat exchanger. If you get like a Cooper nickel or especially a NITEC, you should be okay for the long run. But if you get a copper heat exchanger, it's fragile. I mean, you see a penny after a couple of years, and it doesn't have pool water running through it.
It's not the highest grade copper either. People don't realize they don't realize there's different levels of copper, that copper's the lowest.
Doesn't the copper heat faster though than the?
Yeah, it's more
a heat conductor.
But heat conductor.
But you got to really stay up on your water chemistry.
Yes,
if you got a copper heat exchanger.
Yeah, that's when alkalinity and all that really comes into play.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about, it just popped into my head because we've been talking about pool opening a lot. If I had to close my pool or do pool openings, I probably, if I was going to get a gas heater, I'd make sure I got a Cooper nickel, because if you're closing down and then opening up and you have a green pool and you're running all that stuff through it, chances are it's just gonna all that extra stuff is gonna play havoc. But
Cooper nickel or even that new NITEX from Raypack is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Space aged.
I think just a couple things that we run across here to keep in mind if you're interested in a gas heater is if you're a commercial pool, you want to make sure you're getting that ASME version. We have people that order
a lot of hotels.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, wait a second, this isn't going to pass inspection unless it's ASME.
Yeah.
And then also higher elevation, there's different models that you need to get, especially in the Raypack line. I think Hayward's a little different. Where
Hayward's up to like 10,000.
Yeah,
Pentair ones are up to 10,000. I think some are.
Yeah, because Hayward's low NOx goes from 0 to 10,000.
Yeah, so if you're out in Colorado, just make sure you're getting the right elevation.
Or Mexico City.
That's for us.
Or if you're in Florida, you're like, what is elevation?
Yeah, the higher the elevation, the less oxygen that's needed to light the fire. That's why you need to get a low NOx, so it doesn't take as much oxygen to light that baby.
Yep, that's another thing. The low NOx, it's required in most of the zip codes out in California.
Yeah.
A couple other places, so check your local codes.
Yeah, I think we're
because
pretty.
It's all hilly there. The elevation just varies big time out there.
I think whenever we see a California zip code, we're just kind of like, I'm pretty sure you need a low NOx because we don't want you to have to ship this heater back because no one's going to install it. But
you need a low NOx and a variable speed pump.
Yep.
I've explained that a few times this week.
So now that we've fawned over gas heaters, we're going to talk about Tyler's favorite topic, heat pumps.
Heat pumps.
What is a heat pump?
So
Pros, cons.
we kind of, we said it a little bit earlier. They're kind of like an AC unit, just in reverse. You set it, and whenever your pool's on, if it reads, I believe it's 3 to 5 degrees below what you set it to. So say you set it at 85 and it goes a little bit below, it kicks on and it starts heating the pool. It is slower, a lot slower. So
How does a heat pump work?
So
It's like I would say it's like a reverse AC.
yeah, it's reverse AC.
Yeah.
It's in there.
So it's pulling in the
And it's running it over a heat exchanger that has, is it Freon? I think it has Freon in it.
Yeah.
And basically it's just like instead of heating or cooling, or instead of cooling, it heats it. It's a whole bunch of, it's basically a big old expensive science project in your backyard.
Yeah, it looks like a big radiator when you take it apart.
Exactly.
Open area and a condenser.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you have to be HVAC certified to start working on those.
Because it uses that RF in there.
I think because if you go to Raypack's website and try to find a warranty provider or like a installer, most of them are HVAC companies.
Yes.
There's a couple of pool companies, but when you're dealing with that kind of material, you need to make sure you know.
Also noticed on like our parts listing, there's a lot of heat pumps that we can't get parts for because the company doesn't, like, for instance, AquaCal.
Yeah,
they don't want us selling their parts because they want an actual trained specialist to install them and stuff like that. So that's a big thing as well.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing with a lot of heat pumps, because even Built Right does that here. They won't sell parts. They make you ream. They'll send their guys out there because they're all HVAC and all that certified.
But yeah, no, I mean, what you do is you kind of set it, and I wouldn't say forget it, because if you get up into the 80s and you forget it and
that's copyrighted and we don't want to get sued. But yeah,
they're pretty energy efficient. And it's a lot cheaper to run a heat pump than it is a gas heater.
Yeah.
So that's
Just
definitely a benefit.
If you want to heat your pool, that's one of those things you're going to have to put it on for.
It's a gradual heat.
Before you want to get in. They're not like the heaters that.
And I would
like an hour.
Right, you're getting a degree and a half, 2 degrees maybe, if it's sized properly, an hour.
Yeah.
So usually the day before, if I know we're going to use it on like a Saturday, I'll just start it on Friday. It's nice.
I want to say it's circumstantial, but it's not the right word. But it depends on the circumstances, because a heat pump is a lot more, I'd say, susceptible to like lower efficiency, especially if it's 70 degrees outside, because the lower the temperature, the slower it can heat, which is a tough thing. So it's probably not great for people who are in Maine or Vermont.
Definitely better in more humid climates. Like they're great for Florida.
Yeah. The cool thing about them is you can extend your seasons really well with heat pumps, and the back and front end of them. You're not going to swim in the middle of January, most likely.
Yeah.
One thing you do have to remember is with heat pumps, while it's off at night, you lose that heat. You get a lot more evaporation. And this is with all heaters in general. You get evaporation with colder nights, hotter days. Well, your water's pretty hot. So at night, you're going to get more evaporation. So you should put a cover over, some type of solar cover or something like that to hold it.
And that's what we call foreshadowing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We'll
Plus,
be
if
coming
you go
back
up
to that.
north, you don't really see a lot of heat pumps, because most heat pumps are electric. We see them in the southern states because there's not a lot of houses that have natural gas. And a lot of people don't want to go the propane route because that can be very expensive. So if your house already has natural gas, then they most likely will go with the natural gas heater. If they don't have either, then they'll go with a heat pump just because it's electric.
I had a friend who was was putting in a pool, and they wanted to get a gas heater, and it was going to cost like $10,000 because they had to pull the line from like 100 feet away, and they had to go through someone else's yard and a whole bunch of stuff. And it's just like, I think I'm just going to get a heat pump. I mean, it's
and that's usually a big seller point right there. It's that.
And also it's another thing you have to keep in mind, because it is another AC unit, and you have to run it. Also, when we say you have to run it, also consider that you have to run your pump along with that heat pump. So you're not only running another AC unit, you're also having to run your pool pump along to feed the heat pump. So, it's good in warmer or humid places, but you got to make sure that your electrical costs are where it's at. That's why I would always suggest, if you're considering getting a heat pump, go to Raypak's heat pump sizing calculator on their website. We have a blog on it, but that's good. But if you're looking for like straight from the source's mouth, not the saying, but I would go to the Raypak heat pump sizing guide, which is very good. It tells you what months would be best for using it, and kind of how much you actually save if you get a solar cover. So, consider getting that. But now that we've stomped on heat pumps, what's next? Resistance electrical heaters or electrical resistance heaters? What you got for us, Rob?
So sometimes people get confused between like the heat pumps and these electric heaters that we're talking about. There's no condenser in these. It's just really just an element that heats up.
Yep.
So they're real common on spas. You'll have a little like 5 kilowatt, 11 kilowatt electric heaters, but they make larger ones for pools. Like Raypak has an 18 kilowatt and a 27 kilowatt. Oh, yeah. I know Coates has a bunch of ones that go higher.
I think they're like 54.
Yeah.
67,000 BTU.
So they're, the benefit is they're small. Like Dan mentioned earlier, like the size of a desktop computer, something like the 5 and the 11 kilowatt.
Yep.
So they're small, they're compact. They heat, pretty quick. But the downside is they consume a lot of electricity.
They are really inefficient.
So take example, like a 27 kilowatt, electric heater. That thing requires, I think, 3 40 amp breakers.
Yeah.
Holy
so
smokes.
To give you an idea, like a 140,000 BTU heat pump just needs 1 50 amp breaker.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of electricity those things pull. So just keep that in mind, if you want to go that route for your pool.
It's a lot of electrical work. Maybe you're an electrician, you just want to, practice.
Yep.
But you have to have you have to run it. And also, again, it's not as efficient as a gas pool heater. It's more compact. It's very good if you have tight spaces. That's why a lot of it is, most of the times you'll see electrical heaters in a spa pack or something like that. Like
above ground pools too.
Yeah. Small above ground pools.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, it's definitely an option, but it's going to be on the smaller bodies of water. And, it also provides really quick heat, but expensive heat. And it comes back to the same thing with the heat pump, where you can use an electrical heater, any time of year, and it should put out the same amount of heat, but you're going to be paying for it. Mm-hmm. So I guess, and the last one is solar heaters.
Yeah.
That's me. That's going to be negative. Now, there are some good things when it comes to solar heaters. If, everyone's seen solar panels on top of a house or in a big old field. It's basically just, when it comes to a pool solar heater, it's a big old panel, 4x8 or whatever. And inside those panels are going to be I can't remember what the type of material is, but just weaving hoses that just look like that, that snake game you would play trying to catch apples. It basically was like a really long one of those, just snaking up and down. And generally, you either put it in your yard or you're going to be putting it on top of your roof. And it's
where do you get the best sunlight?
Yeah, wherever you get the best sunlight. So it does take some prep work. And if you are in a shaded area or you have a lot of trees, you might have to do something about that, or it might not be an applicable thing. So, it's one of those things where you do have to do some prep work beforehand.
Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
It's always cloudy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
look at your equipment to make sure you got a pump that's strong enough if you put it on the roof to be able to push the water up.
Exactly. That's well, let's talk about the pros first. The pros is that it's technically free. You're using the solar heat, just the sun, to heat up the water and soak it up and bring it back to your pool. The downside is you have to run your pump the entire time. You also have to usually, at least most of the times I've talked to people with solar heaters, they've had to up the size of their pump because they have a 1 horsepower, but they have a 2-story house and they're trying to put a solar heater up there. You're probably gonna have to get at least a 1.5 or 2 horsepower. That means either getting a new pump or getting a pure line drivetrain upgrade. Huh? Is that what that is? You could change it to like a 1.5 or 2 horsepower, and that's okay. And you also have to consider that if you do that upgrade, make sure that your filter can handle that extra flow. But you have to do that extra plumbing to get it up and then get it to come down. And then on top of that, you have the possibility of those panels getting damaged, which is those. It's not like a regular solar panel where it's like hard material. You do have like flexible hoses in there. So if a squirrel gets in there, they can take a little chomp. At least it's not your brake lines. They can just pop a wheel, not pop a wheelie. If the solar panel popped a wheelie,
Low riders up on.
Okay. Well, if we have any fans with artistic skills, I want to see a solar heater popping a wheelie. But if you get like a little pinhole leak, and you got a pinhole leak on your roof, then you have and when you have a pinhole leak in your roof or a pinhole leak in your solar panel, when you turn off your pump, it's going to lose prime, and then you have all that water rushing from your solar panel on the roof all the way back down to your pool, or all the way back down on your equipment. If you have a DE filter, it's gonna flush all that DE powder. It's no fun. But again, it's a good option if you have the room, if you have the equipment to do it. I am the cautious Kathy of the group, so I can see it's a big old piece of equipment that I just feel like I'm gonna have to pay to replace. So maybe I wasn't the right person to do this one. I should have done gas heaters. We should have given TT this one.
Oh, I'm chomping at a bit.
I know.
Like there's so much with solar heaters that I'm like, you have to mount them on your roof and
Put a bypass valve on it when you're not using it, so that you don't have to send the water up there.
I can be such a negative Nancy on solar heaters. I've worked with them, so I'm like,
in Florida, that's a really popular.
I mean, they're good if you want a good free way of creating heat. I mean, the cost of solar, once you get it installed, the cost of installing it's the same cost of buying the actual panels. It can cost you $4,000 to get solar. Actually, that was years ago. It's probably gone up from there.
What? Really? Prices go up?
Yeah. But you have to be on top of them more because of when they're on the roof, when the sun's beating down on them, think about their sun's beating on them all the time.
And
so that
squirrels
they
just
damage.
love those things.
That damages them a lot.
But I will say there is a cool, we figured out that if you have a variable speed pump on your solar system, you can run it at a high speed, have it start off at the high speed, and then after a while it can cycle down to a lower speed and it actually pushes the water because you create a force going through those solar panels. So as long as you've got a prime sequence on your pump, most of them prime up at the highest speed possible or whatever you have it set for. If it's priming for 5 minutes, pushing up into that solar, and it goes down to a low speed that it shouldn't be running it at. It's a little bit more efficient, and it can heat the water because the water's going through them slower. So
I think is that a podcast first? You came up with something positive.
yeah,
Good job. So I guess when Tyler's being positive, that might be a good time to maybe start to close out the show. I think his batteries are running low. So as a quick recap, let's just kind of go through, like maybe what are the good scenarios or scenarios where you might want to use each one of those. Let's just go through the gas heater first. Who am I looking at? Who do I want to go with? You know what? I'm going to go with myself. You know, when a gas heater for me, especially if it's something like a universal low NOx, it's good for pretty much any application unless you can't get gas. Or if you have a super tight equipment pad and like you can't get a gas heater, even like a small Raypak Avia or Jandy LXI, something like that in there. Would you say that's pretty much, there's no real limitations on that besides no gas?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it's just, you got to have the money to run that gas.
Yeah. It is one of the more expensive ones.
Oh yeah, out of the two, I call them the fuel-driven heaters, propane and gas. Gas is probably the least expensive. Propane, people want a heater instead of, then they will have to, and they don't have a natural gas. They usually go with the propane. But like I said, that could be very expensive, having someone come out and fill up that big propane tank to run that thing.
Yeah. And just having it there. I mean, it just feels like an eyesore.
Yeah.
To me. So
they're great if you want to, occasionally heat your pool and spa here and there, and you're not worried about like maintaining it over a long period of time.
Quick heat.
If you don't use it as much as if you only use it for a spa for a couple of times, then they're perfect.
Yeah. Quick heat, constant heat. It's good for pools, large pools, small pools, above ground, in ground spas, pretty much good for anything. But again, it costs a lot to run, and you need to be able to have the space for it and afford it, obviously. Next, we can go through heat pumps. Heat pumps, it definitely not as widely usable as a gas heater. Now, with a heat pump, you have to consider that for most, if it's below like 60 degrees or closer to 50, you really can't run a heat pump because it needs heat. It runs off ambient temperature to be able to create the heat inside the heat exchanger. So where are you going to use it? Probably in the southeast, southwest, stuff like that. So if you're again, hate to pick on the Mainers out there, if you're in Maine, probably not a good thing to use that type. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, we're in Florida. I have a pool. I don't have a spa attached to it, and I have a heat pump, and I could pretty much heat the pool year round. It's perfect for where we are because we're in a warmer climate. It's humid, and they work well down here.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is you can definitely extend your seasons as far as
here in Florida, you can go almost all year long.
I mean, obviously, I'm sure you don't run it in January whenever it's.
But I have run it in January and February, and
a few weeks, the 1 or 2 weeks that it's actually cold.
But the crazy thing is, like here in Florida, it'll be 30 degrees one week or one day, and then it'll be 85 the next. Yeah. So
you can also get like icebreaker units that are good down to like 40 degrees, like the Aqua Cow and stuff like that. But the downside of it is, even if you do have even if it is like 90 degrees outside and you're just trying to get it the pool water up a few degrees, it's still a slower heat. So you're going to have to run your pump. You have to think ahead. You're not going to be putting a heat pump on a spa. So you have to make sure that you have some run-up time to run your pump and get that water warm.
Like Rob said, if you wanted to swim on Saturday, he'd start it on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's move on to electrical, or I know the term is electric resistance heaters, but I'm not a nerd. So I can't say that smoothly. But like spa back heaters, the ones that have like usually a heating element inside of a tube that the water just runs over. they're not really, they can be used for pools, but generally they're going to be used for spas and above ground pools. They can be used in pretty much any kind of weather because they're totally encased. It doesn't require any outside things except for electricity. But electrical needs or requirements, they're rough, would you say, Dan or Tyler?
Yeah, I would say if you have to have that many breakers on it and it's pulling that much electricity, you get, number one, you got to get that many breakers out there. So it's going to cost to have someone install that electricity, those breakers. But I've never actually used one, but they sound like, hey, I've heard of them on like baptism pools and small bodies of water like that. So like
the small immersion.
I think that would be the case to use them because you're trying to get the water up real fast and to do whatever you're doing in that situation.
I also forgot baptismal heaters. You can also, that's what they're used. But when Rob was talking about the electrical requirements earlier about how many breakers you need, I was like, I haven't seen that many breakers since Electric Boogaloo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please send your tips to 111 Mockingbird Lane. And then finally, we have the solar heaters, which I dogged, but they're still usable, or they're good units, but there's a lot of stuff that you have to do in terms of installing them and making sure that they stay right and tight for the long haul. They're probably going to be bad. I wouldn't get them if you're in Seattle or San Francisco because it's pretty foggy there, but because you need obviously direct sunlight. But is there a good reason? Or
yeah, like say California, Arizona. When I drove to Arizona, you see a lot of them out there. Places that are really hot, wide open.
Yeah,
they work perfect and they heat up really quick. But just because you have no obstructions, just got straight sunlight.
I think it's utilized more in the southern states, and you can. That's another one that you just broaden your season. It's not something you're going to use in the middle of winter to heat your pool.
One thing with solar panels, speaking of Arizona, I believe that you can run it at night.
Cool.
It'll help cool the pool off because they have a problem out there with the pool getting too warm.
Well, we have that direct site.
I just thought of another downside when it comes to winter. You make sure you have to, those things you have to winterize, and you make sure that, especially, let's say if you have a cold snap kind of swing through, make sure that they're drained, because that's just more pipe that could burst.
Yeah, they're such little tubes.
Yeah,
and there's so many of them, and if any water's in those tubes still, it's gonna freeze.
It looks like plastic radiators up on your.
Yeah,
I think you got two different types. You got wind sail panels and you got single tube panels. So the wind sail is what you were kind of talking about with the little vanes. Then you have single tube panels that have little hooks that the tubes hook into. Those ones are a little bit nicer because wind can go through them. But also, I've never really messed with the wind sail, but the ones I'm talking about, you can snip them at either side and plug them whenever squirrels eat them.
Yep.
It's just a little fun.
I didn't expect the end of that. I didn't know squirrels were going to make another appearance.
Every episode.
Yeah. But old Squirrely Dan. Well, I think we killed it, guys.
I think so.
You guys think you did a good job?
I'm hot right now.
And fuego.
Please leave the puns to me.
Okay. No more. No.
And but I liked this topic. I think everyone did a very good job. I hope you guys came and learned something about pools, or you've been shaking your fist at your speaker this entire time. Either way, thank you for listening. If you have any questions or concerns, or want to buy some pool and or spa products, please visit us over at INYOPools.com. And as always, I've been Matt, that's been Dan, that's been Tyler, that's been Rob. Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the INYOPools podcast. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. For more pool tips and resources, visit INYOPools.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Links for both are in the episode description. We'll see you next time.